You mentioned that DNA testing, that's your expertise, is in the area of using it to dictate crime.
Yeah.
And we know that in civilized countries in the West, they use it a lot. They said they did fingerprinting, they did DNA testing, they found the person's match to be able to track criminals down. In fact, recently, there was a case that was resolved. A serial killer and rapist. The man is 97 years old now in the UK. He was convicted of killing a woman in 1957 because of the DNA match testing. Can you talk us through how that works and how that is possible? Because sometimes you wonder, how does this thing happen? Is it magic? Is it African magic that they do here that we don't understand?
For a particular case, sometimes we have cold cases. You understand? I'm sure you in the law understand about what cold cases are. And, in those particular times...
for those who for our viewers...
cold cases are cases that couldn't be proved because of lack of evidence, but was kept probably still within the legal body until any evidence, any new evidence... then they actually, probably start investigating the case again. You understand? So you have had cases where, for instance, murder is a very serious crime in any part of the world. And because of that, they actually have a lead, but they don't have evidence. We've had situations whereby someone was murdered. If, for instance, someone like Jack the Ripper, I'm just giving an instance, if you have some story about Jack the Ripper, if there was DNA, technology existed when he was murdering people in England, you would definitely find out that he would have been discovered by now. But what happened is, there was some evidence that were left, and this evidence still has the DNA stored. So probably could have been semen if the lady, let me say the lady was raped and killed at the same time, or it could be tissues. I'll give stories later. So if, for instance, those things were stored, there's a way in the forensic world we preserve them. It could be preserved in a dry condition or in a frozen condition, depending on where the tissue was gotten. You understand? Definitely. Then whenever you do that, so whenever they are kept in the forensic lab, after a time then the case is now reopened for, whether revived. Then they will be able to call on us, the forensic expert, to go use the latest technology we have, do a test to see if we can get a match with whoever is the suspect. It could be in that particular case, that could be they were arrested someone who they suspected must have committed the person. It could be the wrong person, and that person is still incarcerated. And they could actually use one or two, probably DNA database, and probably search it across the database. If they don't find any, then they will now come back and look for a particular source. But if they actually have a valid lead, but it's just to forensically prove that this person matches, then this one you're talking about, someone murdered someone long time ago, and I don't know the particular story, but in an ideal scenario, it could be they actually have someone that have been suspecting that the person, and records show that this person might be the person, and they didn't have any way to actually nail the person. So what they actually do is they will actually run a test with the latest technology they have, probably something like next generation sequencing.
Now, what you're saying is that this DNA testing of a thing is not like it just started today. Maybe it's been there 5 years ago, but the technology...
No, it didn't start today. In fact, it's been there since the 1980s.
Okay, so are you saying that a test could have been done 5 years ago, and it did not match the lead? And with the latest technology...
It's not the DNA test done then. Yeah. It's like the tissues were preserved. You understand? Not the DNA test itself. So something of that time, beyond that, it could have been they have actually preserved some blood tissues or some semen or some skin tissues. Actually, those things have been preserved, that the cells have not degraded. And when they're properly preserved, once the case is, revisited, they can actually get those particular samples, the crime scene samples, and test them again to see if they can get a match against a suspect they have.
Now, my question is this: if a test was done 5 years ago, and there was no match.
Thank you.
With the new and development in technology, are you saying that a retest could be done with the latest technology that would probably match what was done 5 years ago. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, it's a possibility, but that's not the same thing. Like the way you, let me just explain something to you here.
Okay.
If an actual DNA test was done and you got full profiles, you got the results, you don't need to do the test again.
Okay.
All you need to do is to keep the data in a database.
So the technology 5 years ago doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But those cases you see where someone stayed like 20 years, 30 years, it became a cold case because it could be because there was no DNA technology existing then.
Yeah.
You understand? They didn't find this thing. This DNA technology you're looking at, it was in the 1980s. You understand?
Okay.
When
let me come to.
I actually wanted to ask something.
Okay.
Here, does it mean that there are no further developments in terms of crime prevention on the area of DNA?
Of course they are. Science. We are still doing. There's new innovations. Like now, back in the days, like some years back when we were doing DNA testing, there's a technology called shorthand and repeat, which is commonly used in the police in the UK and the US now. Now we've invented a new technology what they call next generation sequencing.
Yes,
that does wide arrays of tests from what they call snapshot, single nucleotide polymorphism, and it also does YSTR at the same time. Conducts STR, conducts what they call indel. That's in insertion deletion. It does a lot of tests at the same time. Even mitochondrial DNA, it can easily test. That test can actually tell even if the DNA is even degraded. Like you couldn't even get the sample, like it's a blood cell that's so degraded, you still get DNA from it. Yeah. So the technology are so improved.
That's why I'm asking this because I know the quality of the tissue, the sample that you normally get, will definitely be affected.
Yes, if it's degraded so badly, you may not get any DNA from that.
I'm going to come back to you. Let me go to Barrister. Yours is more of the legal implication because that's your expertise. So I don't want you to give us the technical aspect of it. Now, on the issue of the paternity fraud, is there any criminal implication for a woman that was found out to have given a man a child who is not his biological child, that was found out through this DNA testing?
You know, whenever issues concern crime, it has to do with intent. Most of the offenses in our criminal law has to do with intent. Not all, because there are what we call strict liability offenses. Exactly. Yeah. But when a woman does not know that that a man,
many of them know. So
they might be suspected.
It's only a woman who knows who impregnated her.
Remember, during that time, the reason we are saying this at all is that during that time, both the social parent, maybe as at this moment the husband, and whoever is the real father,
the biological father, had relationships with the woman. Yeah, but then the woman knows. That's why I said it's only the woman knows the person who impregnated her.
Only if there's a gap. Let me just give you an instance. If the lady slept with the boyfriend,
both of them,
almost the same. They're like today, this one she's ovulating. She may not know.
She may not know.
But if there's a gap, she slept with a guy.
Where clearly the woman knows.
Because we've had instances where a brother and another brother, two brothers, slept with the same lady.
And I need to discuss that.
Please. Because in that circumstance, in terms of physical appearance,
they would definitely look alike.
We're not talking of physical appearance. We are talking of, if a woman sleeps with a man, her period of ovulation, she should know her window. I don't need to be teaching that to a woman. I'm not a gynecologist. So she should know her window period. And if she does that, sleeps with a man, and knows that, I'm outside of my window period, and goes to sleep with the husband, and out of that, a pregnancy comes, she should know who is responsible for that child, definitely. So at that time, the issue of intent is clear. So are you going to exonerate her that there was no intent, there was no menstruation?
It's not criminal. Remember that the things we refer to as crimes are the things we want to make crimes.
Okay.
You understand? So I think it will not serve a good social policy for you to go and be locking up women just because
It's not a crime.
we are unfaithful in quote. Maybe at that time they quarreled with whoever it was and decided to cool off with their
I agree with
Can
you.
I establish something?
You can't punish a woman for
being randy.
But by law,
being randy is not a crime. There's any jurisprudence.